Okay, so I've got this penguin. It was a old welding project from one of the guys that was in my welding class about a year ago. He didn't want it anymore, so I got it. And I thought I'd restore it or refurbish it. It didn't used to have bolt eyes. Might break these off, do something else, but we'll see. Still got to add a tail. It does not have a tail. I'm thinking of so that stands flat. I'll get something that's the same width as the feet and add it on the back and just have it curl up, and that'll be the tail. And that way it will actually be able to stand solid rather than being tilted back how it does right now. It's a little bit cleaned up now, some of the areas. I do kind of want to keep the sort of rustic look. Yeah, some of the scale on there, some of the mill scale. I realized I will have to break the eyes off if I'm going to grind all this flat. So, breaking these off. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I was going to use this little grinder, and I realized that's a lot of weld to grind down. So I'm going to use this big grinder instead. So you probably can't tell how long I was actually grinding on this from the time lapse, but I mean, it was maybe like a minute, but I basically have to grind until all of these spots are gone, and I might have to go all the way down to where this is. So that's quite a bit of thickness there. I'll have to grind all flat, and that's just one side. Still gotta do the other sides. And I don't want the whole entire video to just be big ol' time lapse of me just grinding this down, so I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. It really doesn't look all that different, but as you can see, I ground down to where that flat spot was, and there's still a lot of grooves and stuff. So I got all this. There's a lot right here that needs to be ground down, but yep, start getting that done. So I got this side ground down, just like the top here. There's some spots that are just really pitted, and I'm not sure if I want to continue grinding it thinner and thinner. I want to say this is 1/4 inch pieces that were welded on, but I don't know what the other side on the inside, what that looks like. I don't know if it's pitted on the other side, and I don't want to grind through and then end up making a hole. So probably just clean up the other sides, see what it looks like. It'll probably be the same story as this and this on all the other sides. So that might just end up being part of it. These spots, I don't know. Might just continue to grind it down further. Another thing that I just thought of is the edges. What will all the edges look like after it's all cleaned up? Again, I don't know. We'll see. That's kind of one of the fun parts of a restoration or refurbishing project. You don't really know what it's going to turn out to be. Okay, so this side, there's not, let me get my nail, there's not nearly as much of this, except for like right there. And again, like I said, the edges will be interesting. Had similar welds to this. I'm sorry about the the floating camera, so because I'll be looking at what I'm doing and not through the camera, so my hand just kind of drifts, and you you get a very unclean shot. I'm new to this. I'm very, very, very new to this video stuff, other than like little video projects in school. So yeah, really wanted this one to come out completely flat, none of these spots and stuff, but there's all of this. And I don't know how easy it is to tell on camera, but that is very deep. If I were to try to grind through all of it, I might have to just put a whole new piece in there if I were to do that. So I think I'm just gonna leave it how it is for now, because these pits are very, very deep. Geez. This is the sad part. I gotta grind the face. Wow. Sorry. Spared you guys the, seeing that. That was awful. If you did want to see that, please get help. Please. Jeez, that was, not fun. I mean, yeah. I know it's just an inanimate object, but it was weird grinding a face off. Okay, so originally I was going to try to keep it somewhat how it was originally. But at this point, I've taken so much off. It's really not the same thing anymore. I'm just doubling down, going all in. I'm just going to completely redo it. I'm going to grind all of it. Just get the whole thing completely smoothed out. Fill in the huge gaps like this, and then grind it back down. And then clean it up with a, what's it called? A flap wheel to get rid of these deep scratch marks from the grinding. So if the original creator of this thing is watching, sorry, but you threw it in the scrap bin, so you kind of revoke the rights to say what happens to it anyway now. So there you go. Now that I've got most of the large amounts of flat grinding done, I need to get in some of these Other areas are like tighter corners like that and that. I'm going to be using the smaller 4-inch grinder rather than the 6-inch grinder. So some spots there is still slag in some of these areas, like there. So this thing was stick welded together, and I don't know if you can see it, but in there, if you know anything about welding, stick welding specifically, you know what slag is, and there's a lot of it, and some of it is so deeply embedded in this thing, I would have to almost completely dismantle parts of it to get it all out. So yeah, there's a lot of it in there. Now, if this were a structural thing, it would have to be completely redone, but it's not a structural thing, and this is the very, very, very wrong way to do something. But what I'm probably going to end up doing is just grinding out what I can, and anything that's left I'm just going to weld right over it and cover it up. Now I'm going to say this again, that is the wrong way to do something. If this were structural, that would be like, that's not how you do it. But this doesn't have to support any weight or anything like that. It's just a artistic piece, I guess you could call it. So it doesn't really affect anything. Alright, I don't know how much of a difference you can see. There's still so many spots. But I cleaned up the front and the tops of the feet. I tried to get in these areas, but it is just really, really odd angle and all. So I'm gonna start welding in the gaps now. Alright, got the welder turned on, got the crown clamp, got this, got my jacket. I just still need to put my gloves on. Hood. Alright, I probably should mention, a lot of these, some of these areas are very contaminated still, have rust and stuff in them, so there's a good chance that a lot of these welds are going to come out kind of nasty. Fill in some of the spots up here, brush off the soot. But yeah, this is basically what it's going to look like. Filling in all the spots. Still got to fill in that one. I did a little bit here. There's a lot. But I'll have to change the position of this thing for a lot of it, just to make it easier on myself, and just do a lot of spot welding. Well, the this particular welding tip was very worn out, and the wire got stuck in it, so I had to replace that. So this one is no good anymore. It needed to be replaced anyway. That hole is supposed to be round, and it's hard to see, but it's kind of oval shaped. If I can get this camera to focus. Yeah, see? Kind of oval shaped. It's not supposed to be that way. So, got a new tip on the nozzle. I just have to put the cone back on and get more done on this. It's it's coming together, but man, there's a lot to... Okay, so I took a break and let this cool. It so a little warm. So I went in, ate some lunch, and went over the footage I have, and wow, I say a lot, way too much. It just did it again. Anyway, so I will be trying to not say that word as much. Like I said, very new to the video stuff, so I need to get used to figuring out what I'm going to say beforehand. But for now, I've got to grind all this down. Okay, there I go again. So, I thought this would be a very simple, fast project, but there's so much to this thing. A lot of sides, a lot of grinding. I thought I'd be able to get it done in just a day, but there's still, might be hard for you to see, it's getting dark out, but there's still a lot of spots on this thing. I'm starting to think about just letting it have some spots. So tomorrow I'm going to put a tail on it and somewhat of a face, and I think I'll call it good.